live. You see they're dry. You see there's no marrow in the bone. You see they're scattered all over the valley. They ain't even full skeletons. I mean, the bones are scattered all over the valley. They're just bones. But answer me a question, Ezekiel. Can these bones live? Ezekiel answers the only way he knows how to answer. Lord, you know. Critical race theory was born out of critical legal theory. Am I teaching y'all something today? There emerged two common beliefs linking all critical race theories. First, white supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's just a fact. How in the world are you going to fight against that being taught in any school? White supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's a fact. Why don't you want that to be taught in school? You let your schools teach us that Columbus discovered America. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that George Washington couldn't tell a lie. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that some slave owners were beneficent and good slave owners. There were no good slave owners. Anybody who owned people was evil. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that Abraham Lincoln was good for Negroes. No, Abraham Lincoln was trying to save the Union. And Abe Lincoln himself said if he could save the Union and keep black people in chains, he would do it. That's a lie. Come on, somebody. You let them teach us about a white Jesus. You let them teach us that Native Americans were the aggressors. Come on, somebody. That white folk had a manifest destiny and that the pilgrims were good to Native Americans. That's a lie. All day, every day, you let them teach us lies. All throughout my history in school, I was taught lies. But you got a problem with critical race theory because it teaches the truth that white supremacy has subordinated black people and people of color. The right to bear arms. Let me just back up a little bit and let me take you on back to the late 1960s when Ronald Reagan was the governor of California. And they were oppressing black folk, and a group of men and women known as the Black Panther Party decided that they were going to defend the rights of black folk. And the Black Panthers decided that the Second Amendment wasn't just for white folk. So they strapped themselves with guns and showed up at the Capitol in California. And when they saw them Negroes with guns, come on, somebody. That's why I say if you ever really want to get gun laws changed, just strap all these Negroes up. They'll change them laws before the week is over. When the Black Panthers, watch this, I want you to read, the California legislator passed what was called the Mulford Act. It was a gun control act that decided who could get guns, who couldn't get guns, what could be in your background, what couldn't be in your background. It was the first time in history that the National Rifle Association, the NRA, supported restrictive gun legislation, all because black folk had the nerve to get strapped. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, go get strapped. Amen, somebody. Y'all gonna say Bishop told us to get strapped. I said it. Go get strapped. It just got real quiet up in here. But y'all already know I'm a triple P. Amen. Y'all know what a triple P is, right? A pistol packing preacher. Amen, somebody.
Thank you, Jesus.
just because you made it to the palace. Bless the name of the Lord. But you've got a responsibility to help somebody else make it across. Thank you, Jesus. Don't pull up the ladder because you climbed to the top. Don't blow up the bridge because you made your way across. Thank you, Jesus. But reach your hand back down the ladder and pull somebody else up out of Lodabar. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Gotta tell themselves it's all right if you got it now, just hold it for me. I'll be there to get it after a while. Oh, bless the name of the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. You got to make up in your mind that what God has for me, it is for me. I might not have it right now, may not get it next week, you might try to stop me from getting it, but if God said it's mine, I want you to know after a while, I'm going to get what belongs to me.
90.7 WTCC. Good morning and welcome to the Spoken Word. I'm your host, Bishop Talbert Swan II. And as usual, we'll be telling it like it is through cultural idioms and nuances that shape the order, ethos, and chaos of the African American experience. Words have their own vitality. They shape their own consciousness and create their own context for interpreting social and spiritual reality. The spoken word contains the power to reshape the landscape of society. It is 3 minutes past the hour of 9 a.m. And I want to thank Mr. Kenneth Barnett for bringing us up until the 9 o'clock hour with The Promise. You can hear The Promise every Monday morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., bringing you the best in gospel music, a good way to start out your Monday morning, a great way to start out your week. Well, it's going to go quick, fast, in a hurry, unfortunately. This week, we only got an hour to deal with this. A lot of black male bashing going on in the social media streets. We're going to talk about it. They've characterized us as violent, misogynist, predatory, rapists, etc. And a firestorm broke out last week when a black woman therapist came out into the social media streets, purportedly trying to help black men seek therapy. But after she got through calling us dusty bees and sad MFers and all kinds of other pejoratives and talking down to us like we were children and stuff, it didn't go as she planned. We didn't receive it as I guess she thought she was giving it to us. And she wound up getting fired. And that sparked the whole conversation again. They've resurrected Kevin Samuels from the dead again. He's trending because the black women that are upset that this therapist got fired is saying, hey, y'all supported Kevin Samuels. Last time I checked, he wasn't a licensed therapist with 90% female clients either. But anyway, tell a friend, tell somebody. Bishop Swan is on the air right now. 413-337-1830. 1867 413 337 1867 to call in. If you're on social media, you can certainly put your comments in. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from. Love to know where you're coming in from. I see Chesapeake, Virginia already in there. I see Enfield, Connecticut already checking in. Springfield, Mass is already checking in. Maryland is already in the hizzy. So definitely tell a friend, tell somebody the Bishop is on the air. Rep your city, rep your town. Love to see where my peeps are coming from on Monday mornings. Like, share, subscribe, do all of that stuff. Okay, y'all? Jacqueline Bass, I see you. Good morning. Wilsie Hodges, Brenda Ford. Good morning. Fairburn, Georgia is up in the house. We got a lot to talk about. Richmond, Virginia. Hey, Richmond, Virginia is up in the house. Who else is up in here? Houston via Baltimore on the gram is in the house. I see you out of BC. Represent. That's Dallas in the house. Come on, y'all. Let me know where you coming in from. We're going to take a short music break because we got so much to talk about. And when we come back, we're going to get it crunk. We're going to get right into it. Don't y'all go nowhere.
The essence of life is growth, but the essence of growth is change. The being in the road will be the end of the road if you refuse to change.
Reach a little higher, dig a little deeper, go a little further,
Come on.
reach a little higher,
Come on, yeah.
dig a little deeper,
Dig a little deeper,
go a little further,
go a little further. Come on, but don't stop. The essence of life is growth, but the essence of growth is change. The being in the road will be the end of the road if you refuse to change. Your life will never change until you get disgusted with where you are. Whatever you don't hate is what you tolerate. You must learn from the past, plan for the future, and live for today. For it is your daily routine that determines your success or failure in life. It's the choices that you have made up until this point that will determine the rest of your life. So break the cycle that doing enough is simply good enough. You only get out what you put in, so don't settle for the crumbs when you can have the whole loaf. So push yourself beyond your limitations. Come on.
reach a little higher,
Reach a little higher.
dig a little deeper,
Dig a little deeper.
go a little further,
Don't stop. Come on.
don't
Reach
stop,
a little higher.
reach a little higher,
Dig a little deeper.
dig a little deeper,
Go a little further.
go a little further,
Don't stop. Don't stop.
don't stop.
So you gotta break the routine of trying to beat the system. Manipulators will always try to bypass the process for the quick progress. There are no shortcuts to success. There are no elevators to the top. You gotta take it one step at a time. You gotta break the routine of allowing others to get into your head and control who you are and where you're going. You see, when you're about the positive, you're gonna always have haters. But don't let your haters push you down, let your haters push you forward to the next level. So when people show you who they really are, don't perceive them to be something else that they're not. See, a zebra does not change his stripes. So you gotta keep pushing yourself to the next level.
Reach a little higher,
Yeah, there you go. Come on.
dig a little deeper,
Come on. Yeah,
go a little further,
go a little further.
don't stop,
Come on.
don't stop,
Come on. Yeah,
reach a little higher,
reach a little higher.
dig a little deeper,
Dig a little deeper.
go a little further,
Go a little further.
don't stop,
Come on. Come on. Come on. You gotta understand the greatness is the nature that you were born out of. You'll never discover your greatness without hard work and dedication. Greatness says more about who you are and what you expect for yourself. And greatness will always attract greatness. Show me your friends and I'll show you the future. You just a step away. You're just a step away. You're just a step away. Don't ever give up. Come on. You're just a step away. You're almost there. Come on. You gotta push yourself beyond your limitations. You see, there's no mountain too high, no valley too low. You can go where you want to go. It's all in the power of your imagination. If you can see the invisible, you can do the impossible. So stretch yourself. Take yourself to the next level. Come on, come on, come on. Reach a little higher, dig a little deeper, go a little further. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Reach a little higher, dig a little deeper, go a little further. Don't stop, don't stop. Come on, yeah. Come on, come on. Blessings are coming your way.
There's a blessing waiting on
Go a
you.
little further.
You know what you gotta do? You gotta reach.
Don't stop until you get your dream. Don't stop, get your dream. Until you get your dream. Come on.
You gotta reach, y'all.
Get your dream. Don't stop, get your dream. Come on, yeah.
Don't stop.
Don't stop. Come on, come on.
I look in the mirror and I like what I see. A strong, beautiful black woman staring back at me. One who's seen a lot of pain and had her share of sorrow, but who never gave up hope for a brighter tomorrow. I've been lied to, cheated on, and stolen from and hit, but it just made me stronger and I refuse to quit. That's right. And though I've been tempted, I refuse to stoop to their level. Don't go down. I rose above that nonsense and made a liar of the devil. All right now. The devil who said I wasn't good enough, cute enough, or worthy of love, I kicked his butt with divine power from above. Power that says I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me and brought me out of darkness so that I could see that I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm a child of the King. Abundant love for me he came to bring. Oh yes, when I look in the mirror, I love what I see. She's looking good. That strong, beautiful black woman, that woman is me.
90.7 WTCC. Good morning, everybody who's in the house. Do me a favor once again, rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from. Love to know what part of the world you are listening to the spoken word, and certainly always appreciate every single one of y'all. Let's get into this conversation. All right. Been a whole lot of bashing of brothers going on in these streets. Tell somebody right now while you're on. Tell somebody, share it right now. Whether you're on the gram, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook, wherever you are, Twitter, let folk know you're in. I see y'all in the Twitter space. Do me a favor, share. While you're in the Twitter space, share it right now. Share it, hashtag Bishop Swan. Let people, hashtag Black Men, all right? Let people know we're talking about this subject matter right now. It's important. Let me see, first of all, if I can, I need to find, this article, or rather this, this clinician. Her name is Bree, is her nickname. I'm not going to give you her government. You can find out her government, because it was put all over the place once she came out with her initial video. And she says that she is a clinician that she's a clinician that has a clientele of 90% black men. 90% black men. And then she goes on to bash black men. I mean, it's something that I really just had never seen before. Someone who is a professional, who is a therapist, is a clinician, who's out there literally bashing her clients and calling them all kinds of pejoratives, dusty B words, sad MFers. And I say this. I have people in my church, people in my family, who are clinicians. My wife is a therapist, and I've never seen her go on social media and dog out her clients. And that's just not what you do. But let me let you listen to it. Let me let you listen to some of it, at least, those of you who haven't, to let you know what got this. I mean, the conversation is always ongoing. Black-female relationships, we understand that. But this one really set the internet ablaze. And what happened subsequent to her posting a video on a Monday was, by that Friday, she was terminated from her employment. And what that did was that set black women in an uproar about her being fired to bash black men even more. And so for the last couple of days, black men has been trending on Twitter, not trending in a positive way, not trending because, something positive happened, but trending because of this controversy. But let me let you hear at least a little bit of this, those of you who haven't heard it, so at least you can see what I'm talking about.
Say you need to expand your emotional vocabulary, and so your life can be easier. Don't you want to be able to communicate with your bitch? I think yes, right? Long gone are the days where you can just shut down. Bitches is not tolerating that. Like, it used to be where men provided financially or with schmeat, and bitches can make their own self come and we can pay for our own shit. So I'm gonna need y'all to catch up on the emotional part. If a bitch is telling you, I need you to communicate more, open your fucking mouth. But you know what I realized? And let me back up. A common misconception about me as a clinician is that 90% of my clientele have been men. Black men specifically. And what we specifically work on is expanding their emotional vocabulary, because a lot of y'all motherfuckers don't even have the words to express how you're feeling. So when you expand...
Okay, I'm gonna stop right there because I might get in trouble while we're on WTCC with all of the F-bombs and stuff that she's dropping. But she goes on to call us dusty bees and all, a lot of y'all MFers don't know how to open your mouth. Nothing that she said, if I was in need of therapy, nothing that she said would encourage me to go to therapy, especially not with her as the clinician. The bottom line, especially not with her as the clinician. Now, I don't know what y'all feel about it, because, see, a lot of sisters are now out there saying, okay, y'all didn't like her delivery. Okay, so she calling us dusty bees and sad MFers and all of that. That's just about delivery. That has nothing to do with professionalism. That has nothing to do with a whole host of other things. And the sad reality for me is most of the sisters that are flocking to her defense know good and well, if that was a black man who was a licensed therapist saying he had a clientele of 90% black women, and he went on the internet and started calling black women dusty bees and sad MFers and said all of the stuff that she said, there's no way in Hades these women would be defending him, talking about, oh, he just had bad delivery. No, he would be a dog, a misogynist. It would be misogynoir. They would be calling up his place of employment, trying to get him fired in a heartbeat. And y'all know you would. And to sit up here and act like you're so shocked that this woman got fired, you're so outraged that, and it wasn't just black men who thought she should get fired. It was sisters too. Sisters with sense. Other female clinicians who were saying this is completely beyond the pale. This is completely out of pocket. Completely out of order. There were other sisters, matter of fact, they were saying, oh, you guys doxed her. You put her government information out there so people could call and get her fired. Well, you know, that's what happens when you go out on social media. You risk that. I'm on social media with my full government anyway. So I'm not hiding my identity. So I'm accountable for everything that I say. But here's the thing. The person who wrote the article that gave her name and her place of employment was a black woman. So it wasn't brothers who doxed her. It was a sister who put her government out there. And there were other women who thought she was out of pocket and who thought that she should be fired. And if it was a black man, y'all would have had no problem with him being fired. In fact, you would have said he needed to be fired. So what is this continuation of black male bashing? It's something that's gone on forever in America. But we've got a whole cadre of women, black women, who make it their business to trash black men. And especially what they call cis black men, you know, straight black men, heterosexual black men. You know, they tell us we're trash. We're toxically masculine. They've even said that straight black men are the white people of black people. Yeah, that was thrown out there. One of the sisters who came to this sister's defense, Jade, I'll just give you her name she goes by on Twitter, but she was an educator who got fired from her job because she called black men nigcels. You know what an incel is. If you don't, look it up. She put NIG on the front and called us nigcels and bullet bags. Good morning, Whitney, my daughter. My grandbaby's went to school today. Yeah, she called us nigcels and bullet bags. And of course, she came to defend the foolery of this clinician. I'm sorry, y'all. There are far too many legitimate arguments that black women have in terms of their concerns with black men, than to allow it to devolve into this vitriolic bashing that is non-productive. Y'all have some legitimate concerns about protecting black women, about the relationship between black men and women. Black men have some issues. They have some problems. There are a lot of black men who do need therapy. But you're not going to push them to therapy by dogging them out, by jumping along with white supremacists and bashing them, by calling them dusty bees and sad MFers and nigcels and bullet bags. We've already been characterized as violent and misogynist and predatory and rapist by gender theorists and other folks, you know, dating back to the mid-19th century and before. Now we have ethnologists and these contemporary, what they call themselves, intersectional feminists that are doing the same thing, creating caricatures of black men and boys that are not rooted in actual studies, that are not rooted in any empirical findings, but are rooted in stereotypes that are found throughout racist, social, scientific literatures that held black males to be savages, hyper-masculine, delinquent. You know, all of a sudden, all y'all black men like white women. That's a lie. The majority of married black men are married to black women. The majority of black men who date black women. But they ignore the empirical evidence. And they take the high-profile cases of black males who are married to or date white women or others, and they want to paint it with a broad brush and act like it applies to most of us when it doesn't even remotely apply to most black men. Okay? It doesn't. And so stop buying into these stereotypes. You know, I was a lot younger. I remember when Color Purple came out in the 80s. I remember its theater debut. I remember all the clatter around it. Black women in a nutshell. And it's one of my favorite, old school films. Don't get me wrong. I can quote just about every line in there. But I remember the conversation. Black women said it was a story about suffering and overcoming through sisterhood and strength. Black men said it was some BS, that was supported by bitter black women who wanted to make black men look bad. I remember when Waiting to Exhale came out, it got a similar reaction. In the 90s, black women looked at it as the story of their life. Black men said it's some more BS that's supported by bitter black women and make black men look bad. And there have been similar shows going on and plays and so on and so forth that kind of help to perpetuate the stereotypes about black men. Then we have black women who call, and I'm going to get to you all who are in the Twitter space who want to say something on this subject matter momentarily. Just hold tight with me. I'm trying to build the case here. There are a whole cadre of black women who consider themselves to be divestors, divested, and their main focus is not about being happy or helping black men, as this therapist purportedly was trying to do. I'm here to help y'all by calling you dusty bees, by upholding every negative stereotype about y'all. Their goal is not about helping black men, but it's attacking black men. Some of them have even made videos wishing our death. Matter of fact, the one comment on the other sister I was talking about, she said, good luck on your life being a bullet bag. Making light of the murder, of the extrajudicial murder and the violent killing of black men by police and by each other out in the streets. Bullet bags. The definition of the word divest means to rid yourself of something. So when they call themselves divestors, they're literally talking about society would be better off without straight black men. Okay? And they try to brainwash other black women into hating black men. And it's out of control. It's out of control. Let me get some of these folks who are trying to talk in the Twitter space. Marcel, I'm gonna bring you up, man. You got to give me your sermonette version, not your full sermon version. Let me get Marcel up in here. You got the floor, brother.
Hello, good morning, Brother Swan. How are you?
I'm good. You?
I'm doing well. I'm going to get right to the point. I'm glad you're addressing this topic. I think we have to understand that black men have always been targets to be, to be made the enemy. You go back to the days of the slave trade, they would take the black men and humiliate them so that the black woman could not respect them or look down upon them.
They called that. They called that buck breaking.
Exactly, buck breaking. And now a lot of this feminism, which was really something started by white women, who not because they wanted to be allies with black women, that's never been the case. They were 40% of enslavers. It was really this white woman wanting to have the same type of access to power that white men have. Mm-hmm. So what they do now, they sometimes tell black women, girl, you don't need no man, while they go home to Brad in a mansion with their 2 children living a good life, while telling black women you don't need no man, and getting black women to hate their own men. So that's pretty much what we're seeing. I could talk about this for a long time because I'm a teacher, I was a teacher, and I would never make a video ever, nor would I have these type of feelings toward my black male students. Imagine if I made this video saying my black girl students were problematic, and people would have been outraged. There would be just as much outrage when this type of hatred is directed toward black men and boys. And I'll land there. Brother Swan, thank you for addressing this topic. Take care.
All right, appreciate you, bro. Oh, no, he's absolutely correct. Matter of fact, Jade, who was an educator, got fired when she came out calling black men bullet bags and Nick cells, and she should have gotten fired. And here's the thing. A lot of these sisters would have no problem if it was a white woman saying these crazy out-of-pocket things getting fired. They would think that Karen needed to get fired. But somehow they think if other black women dog out black men in that way, that they should be protected. And and that's let me I gotta play this because this blew my mind. The same sister who, call us dusty bees and sad MFers and, everything else, after she got fired. Well, at first, when she was taking heat, she made a video apologizing. But after she got fired, she made another video doubling down on her original video. But then she accused us of not protecting her, of not protecting black women. Let me let you hear a little bit of this, and I'll come back and try to unpack this a little bit.
Well, hello. It's your friendly neighborhood therapist who thought she could save these hoes, but got her job terminated as a result. Story time? I think yes. Shit you not, I posted a video on Monday telling men that their dusty behavior is only harming them and that they would benefit from emotional intelligence. And I shit you not, by Friday, didn't have employment. All of this started with a Psychology Today article stating that men are lonelier than ever because they have no fucking emotional skills. And I agreed and doubled down and told y'all that y'all lives would radically improve if you expanded the shit that came out your mouth. But instead of healing, y'all will do anything but that. Instead of being accountable, like, hey, this bitch see me, and stirred a little bit, y'all got so hurt that you contacted NASA. That's exactly what happened. So first the post goes viral on Twitter because y'all need fucking help. And y'all wanted to argue with bitches blue till they fucking blue in the face. Some of you hoes is not going to be saved. And that's the conclusion that I've come to. So because this shit's going viral, I'm thinking, okay, cool. We started a discussion on mental health. And okay,
I can't play the whole thing. I thought what I was trying to get to would have come up earlier. But as you notice, she started out saying, us hoes can't be saved. Black men, us, you hoes can't be saved. This is a therapist who says that 90% of my clients are black men. But I thought I could save you hoes, but you hoes can't be saved. Like, yeah, that's really going to make me want to go sign up to go have her as my therapist. But the point I was trying to get to was she went on to accuse us of not protecting her, not protecting a black woman from being fired. Wait a minute. Hold. Let me make this clear. You can't have it both ways. You can't dog black men out. You cannot play into the racist stereotypes about black men. Okay? Call us all kinds of pejoratives, hoes and dusty bees and MFers and all that kind of stuff. And then say, you're supposed to protect me from any consequences of me dogging you out. Think about that for a minute. I'm supposed to be able to hurt you as a black man, and then you're supposed to then protect me from the consequences of me hurting you. What kind of logic is that? See, that's where y'all go too far with this protect black women. And I believe in protecting black women. I have black women in my life I love and would give my life for. I have a black woman I've been married to for 30 years. I have a black mama. I got black sisters. I got black daughters and black granddaughters that I would lay my life down for. But you can't do things that are harmful to black men, and then when you have to reap the consequences of your actions, accuse black men of not protecting you. What in the world? Clarence Thomas, you're in the Twitter space. You got the floor. Unmute your mic, Clarence. You're up next.
Good morning, Bishop. How are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good morning.
Bishop, in what world do you assault, attack, demonize, denigrate black men, and then turn around and say you're not protecting black women?
Mm-hmm.
In what world? Unless there's some delusional world here. And so what we saw, and I applaud every brother, I applaud every sister, any person that stood up and reached out and got her fired and raised awareness to this issue, because what we saw was America protecting black men finally, right? And so women have lately, and unfortunately, live in this world where they can say what they want to say, do what they want to do. It doesn't make any sense, have any factual basis behind it, right? And then it be called okay when they start crying. Now, listen, she didn't apologize in that second video. Let me correct you, Bishop. She didn't apologize. She doubled down on her position.
It was a purported apology, because she did come out at the beginning and said, I apologize, but then she went and negated her apology with everything she said after it. So you're right.
And let me say this, and to the point, and I told people this, in her first video, there actually is some value in the things that she was saying. There's some, and I'm a black man that's in therapy. There's some value in some of the things that she was saying, but it all was lost by way of her delivery.
Mm-hmm.
That was talking down, that was denigrating black men, and most black men I spoke to say, as you mentioned, Bishop, I would never go to a therapist because of this, particularly not a black woman. If I do, I want to talk to a black male. So let me just say, I applaud everybody that stood up and protected black men in this particular case. And I land the plane. Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. Excellent point. Let me get Kurt T. Kurt T, you in the building. You got the floor, brother. 413-337-1867. For those who want to call in. Kurt T, unmute your mic and we'll get you on. For those who want to chime in. Hey, Kurt.
Hey, Bishop, I'm glad you opened this topic, because I've been hiding in 38 since that happened, and very little gets me up in an uproar where I can't deal with it without some type of anger. But I do think we are missing the point here. And the underlying issue is these attacks. I checked her page, and she says that she is an LGBT. She says she's a lesbian. And what we're having is, what I'm saying personally, is a lot of attacks from that side of the fence. And if you don't even deal with black men, if you don't even date black men and say these things, I think you're getting out of your lane. I mean, just deal with who you want to deal with. But to come on this side and to say those incendiary things about black men is just simply unacceptable. And I don't think she likes black men at all. I think this is a function of a career, that pays the bills. I think she has to deal with black men just by way of being a therapist, as she says. But her true feelings came out in the way she delivered what she was saying. See, these are veiled insults. These are people saying what they really want to say, hiding behind the fact I'm a therapist, and no, what you're saying is how you really feel about black men. These are personal feelings. This wasn't a professional speaking,
and that's exactly
and open up,
right? And that's exactly where I was going when I was saying how a lot of them they parrot things that are not based on any studies or any empirical evidence. It's just what they think. It's rooted in stereotypes.
Right. And we've got, as black men, we have got to stop hiding and putting our head in the sand. And we have to understand the demons at our door. A lot of these feminists are attacking black men. A lot of our own women are on board with this, and we have got to stop pretending like we're not in war with a feminist group, friends group within our own community who wants to end us, who are working with the oppressors and our enemies. We've got to stop pretending that we're not at war. This love everybody thing that we're doing, it doesn't help us, because we keep getting Bishop in the back when we reach our hands out and say, hey, let's reconcile. Let's turn toward the real enemies here. And they're saying, well, we'll play along for a minute, but then they go right back to what they really are about, Bishop. And I land my plane on that.
All right. Appreciate you, brother. 413-337-1867 if you're in the Twitter space. Well, let's just keep it popping since y'all want to talk today. Let me get my brother Terrain Walker up in here. Brother Terrain, what's good with you, brother? 413-337-1867. Hey, brother Terrain.
Good morning, Bishop. How you doing?
I'm good. You?
Doing well. When you can finish this comment, you got to tell me how you managed to bring that audio into the space, because I've been trying to do that for months.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead, bro. What's on your mind?
Okay. I got 3 points, and I'll be as brief as I can.
Okay.
What happened with this young woman, I think, shook a lot of people up, because for the longest time on social media and in academic spaces, it's been totally fine to say hateful, vile, degrading things about black men and have no sense and have no kind of censure from the institutions that you work for. I think this is only the second time that, in my experience, that I've seen someone black have any sort of consequences for making hateful statements about black boys. There was a lawyer earlier this year who referred to black men as bullet bags. I think she was a lawyer in Texas, and somebody made a call to get her removed from her job, and I think that happened. So this is only the second time. So I want to say, first of all, I am not upset about that. I have absolutely no sympathy for what happened to her. She brought that on herself. Nobody got her fired. She fired herself.
Yeah.
The second thing is this, and this is something that I keep telling people that they have to be aware of. From the moment we landed on these shores, black men, black women too, but mostly black men have been the boogeyman of American society. We've been sort of like the Frankenstein and the cipher that everybody can throw their fears, their hatreds, and their prejudices onto. And we've been dehumanized and we've been brutalized since we got here. So if you come to the way these things are parsing out with that understanding, that makes you understand why those hateful narratives can go forward. Another thing is, a lot of times they say, as a religious man, you know this. They say, sometimes the devil shows up as the thing you most desire. What happens is a lot of the people who are black, who have these issues with black men, touch their rhetoric in all this revolutionary talk, and they couch it on as liberationary talk. So you get a lot of this rhetoric about intersectionality and about privilege and things like that, which are valid points, but they use that to kind of cover up their own personal issues that they're dealing with, and they're using their academic training to kind of cover all of that.
And
they're dealing with trauma.
And then they wrongfully project onto black men societal things that don't even apply to us. Like they continue to talk about privilege among black men, and I'm still trying to figure out how they figure that behind white men we are the most privileged people in society. That's crazy to me.
It's ridiculous. We are at the bottom of every socioeconomic metric in the United States. And the last thing I want to say is this, and again, this is something that I think people need to be very, very aware of. There is this mentality in the legal field, in academia, in mental health, and in medicine, where you have a bunch of people who are black, who have a history of making hateful statements about black males with no real censure. So I think that's something to think about, because if all these people are responsible for the health and well-being and safety of black people and black men and boys, people need to be very aware of the fact that there are people who look like you who have these hateful ideas about you. So what are they telling their superiors? What kind of policy are they making to affect black men and black boys? How are they affecting the daily outcomes and the life outcomes of these black men and boys? And I think people have been aware of it, but we've been afraid to really check the people who do this stuff. But I think this was a harbinger of what has to happen. People have to really be proactive about pushing back against these narratives the same way any other ethnic group would be if somebody in their ethnic group was insulted. We got to be that way with our people, and we got to start taking action and pay it in their pockets. That's the only way it's going to change.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, my brother.
Thank you, and I'll let my plane there.
All right. If y'all don't follow Brother Terrain Walker, go ahead and give him a follow. The brother is on point, and he's out there doing some great work in journalism and beyond. And he's talking about the right things and putting the right stuff out in the space. So give my brother a follow. Let me get Untouchable J. Untouchable J, you're next up.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning, sir.
From the good state of Connecticut.
All right.
Yes, sir. When I heard this yesterday, a lot of thoughts came to mind, but immediately I thought, this is just a subject of white supremacy. That you come and you think that someone that looks like you is not equal to you or lesser than you, and you're above them. It's really like really demonic in a lot of the things she was saying, and very stupid on her part. I hail from the correctional field. They tell you when you're in training, you can't go on social media saying it's that. It's just not how life works. So she brought this on herself, and then, like you said, she wants to make it our fault again.
Right. And that just blows my mind that the very demographic that I was out here denigrating, I'm going to put the blame on them for the consequences of my actions.
Right. And to the last point, I landed here. I don't understand the hate watching, right? So people that have a lot of hate in their heart have this room to still be at the basis of the quote-unquote demographic that they hate, right? If I don't go to your church and I have my own, I don't have time to be watching and posting every day what Bishop Swan's church is doing, right? Your fraternity, your org, whatever the case may be. So she has a lot of time to hate watch. You're close enough to hate working with black men, and you have enough time and space to post that. I 100% had enough common sense to say I can't keep working with some black women because there's this lack of responsibility and accountability for what they're going through. She stepped away. So if you have that much of a problem, step away, get your head right, and then come back to me. I'll lay my opinion. Thank you, Bishop.
All right, sir. 413-337-1867. You know what? I forgot to put the number up for those of y'all who are in the social media space who are watching the video. Let me get it up there. Bam. There we go. Apologize for that. Let me see. Who do I want to bring up? Let me get Sharon. Sharon, you're next up. You're in the Twitter space. Sharon is connecting right there. I talked about the divestors. I want to get to these people who call themselves the Blackistan. Sharon.
Hello.
Hello.
Sharon.
Okay.
Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Good.
I'm one of those intersectional feminists
All right.
that you're talking about. And I think you're either getting misinformation, whether it be indirect or direct. But just to talk about a couple of key points everyone has been stating. One, The Color Purple, the movie, was great. It was fantastic, and I watched it in the movie theaters like you. We're a similar age. But what you are not understanding, it came almost directly from the book, which was 1 or 2 generations before us, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what that showed was not something that occurred during the 80s or 90s, but 2 generations before. Now, regarding that young woman, the young psychiatrist or psychologist that was fired, her initial video was not directed towards Black men, correct? It was just directed to men. Isn't that right?
No, it was directed to
Because
black. It was directed to black men.
Off of a Psychology Today article regarding incels.
No, I get it. The article she referenced was not directed toward black men, but clearly the content of her video was directed to black men, which is why she
it wasn't.
Which is why she
No, it wasn't, sir.
Which is why she referenced. Wait.
And I follow her.
Wait. She specifically she specifically referenced that 90% of her clientele were black men. She was specifically talking to,
she's a black therapist.
And she was talking to black men.
No, sir.
Well, we disagree on that.
No, sir. We
disagree on that.
We disagree on that, but you're going to let me finish, sir. Thank you.
No. This is my space. See, I should have known when you came in here trying to overtalk me what was going on. I get it. You're triggered by some of the things that I've said and some of the things that are being said in this space, but you're not going to bully your way up in here. She was clearly talking to black men. Watch the video again if you don't think she was talking to black men. You think she was calling white men dusty bees and sad MFers? And when she said 90% of her clientele were black men, who you think she was talking to? Who do you think she was talking about? She wasn't talking about no white men or no other men. Come on now. You got to be kidding me. Father Time, you're in the space. Unmute your mic, Father.
Thank you, Bishop. I'm coming out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I just wanted to address this intersectional thing. What a lot of people miss. Go ahead. No, I was gonna say what a lot of people miss is black people are left on the other side of the intersection, and the intersectionality thing. When the whole premise is they're supposed to be fighting the same enemy we are, which is white supremacy. But you can't. And then the intersectionalists separate themselves from their blackness to run from safety because we're the real target. But then they have to run back to us when they figured out they still black later. But that's the whole thing that they're missing is they're on the side of white supremacy on the other side of that intersection.
Here's my other problem is a lot of or some of the intersectionalists, especially in the social justice space, who dog out cis black men, straight black men, are the first ones who are gaining political capital and influence on the death of those same cis black males that they dog out. A lot of them have made their names. A lot of them have gotten their notoriety off of black death, specifically the death of black men. And so my thing is, don't come out trying to chastise society for how it treats black people when it kills black men, but then you're dogging out black men at the same time. That don't go together.
That is true. They're profiting off black death. But that's the white supremacist agenda. That's the way they've always been. But they do that whoop-de-whoop. They do that slow creep where they get everything normalized so people don't see their open white supremacy in plain view. I mean, that's why black people got to stick together and start talking about this in the open so other people can see it, because that's what's killing black men. It's because we're the target and we have no protection because everybody else is in a group on the other side of the line talking about they safe over there while we in the line of fire and they letting it be.
All right. Thank you, brother. Now let me make this correction. 3 minutes left in the spoken word, and then we're going to transition over to justice and flow. So my wife is behind the scenes doing some research for me, and I thought this was the case, but she just confirmed. She looked up the article, and it was written to black boys and men to elevate servicing and counseling them. It was talking about black boys and men and their emotional intelligence, etc. So the article was about black boys and men. And the therapist was talking about black boys and men and was dogging out black boys and men. So you can't come in here and try to remix and come with this revisionist history. And at the end of the day, she was unprofessional. She was out of pocket. She should have got fired. Period. Bottom line. I only got 2 minutes left before. Hopefully my wife will let me take some of you all who are in the Twitter space on for about 5 minutes or so after I transition. I got to transition at 10 o'clock off of the radio, off of WTCC, and then into the after show, into the Justice and Flow after show. So we're gonna do that now. So those of you who are in the space who are trying to get a word in edgewise, hold tight. We're gonna get you in there. But yeah, I mean, yeah, she came in here and just tried to make up something that just I know I wasn't crazy. I know I wasn't crazy. I knew she was talking to black men. Anyway, look, if you're in the 413 and you're looking for a place to worship, check us out at the Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ, 35 Alden Street, Springfield, Massachusetts, at 11 o'clock on every single Sunday, and we also stream live, so check us out. Even if you're not in the 413, you can check us out on our live stream. Got a lot of good stuff coming up. Our Holy Convocation is coming up September 6th through the 9th. Also, our Hope Fest is coming up on September the 10th. Just so much. Anyway, it's just too short. I gotta go. Those of you who are on the radio, until the next time I talk to you and you talk to me, always remember God loves you, and so do I. Stay tuned for Justice and Flow, coming right back up. know we got a busy Justice and Flow show coming up, so let me get a couple of y'all up that were trying to talk. I can't get all of y'all. Wolfgang, you're in the building.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Perfect. Yeah, what thing just, I mean, also on the T on the T for simplicity shit on here. Call Earth. Based in from Philadelphia, being was in the city. But yeah, just I had a tip point about the whole Shabri and Kurgan fires and whatnot, you know. And it kind of made me think about why a lot of people were missing the point of, you know, you can't really go saying these wild generalizations, you know, just really acting the fool on the internet with your profession in your bio, you know, factors, you know, on your social media, and then not really expect, you know, a hammer like this to really come down. But also, if you think about, like, you know, why are people, you know, kind of on this side, like, oh, she did nothing wrong, like Z and stuff, she was just saying the truth, yada yada, and, you know, delivery and the message get picked up and whatnot, but, like, you know, your delivery is part of your message presentation for if you want to bring about a change, be it in your community, be it in any space you want to, like, you know, see something growth with that. But I also made me think about, you know, when I first saw the video, she sounded like, you know, angry mother, and she was going off about, you know, her issues with, you know, therapy, or therapy, black men and her. So I just wanted to add that as like that's what that felt like, and I feel like from many of the people I see who were in agreement with her, they're just saying it how it is, but that also reflects of, you know, how we are raised parentally and how that type of, you know, way of talking to each other is kind of accepted, but when you look at it from a different light, you know, so that's really how you want someone speaking to you.
Right, and that is so important, because you can't sit here and tell me that, oh, y'all just didn't like the delivery, like as if that had nothing to do with anything, like, you know, like that just wasn't important at all. And it was, but definitely appreciate your input there, brother. I'm going to have to transition those of you who are still in the Twitter space. I'm going to have to transition over to our next segment, Justice and Flow. So y'all stay with us. Oh, I knew it wasn't going to be enough time in this day. It just goes by too fast.
It does. But you can do part B next week. You can pick it up next week.
Yeah,
that conversation is far from over. That conversation is far from over. It's a couple of things I would like to say before we get into today's show. First of all, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Justice and Flow. I am so looking forward to having this conversation with you today, Bishop, Justice, and the guests that we have coming on today. Looking forward to having a conversation with them as well. It's very important to us to keep our listeners informed on what is happening, what is going on, to keep you inspired to stay engaged or to stay connected with your political and personal and certainly your spiritual edifications. But I wanted to say this. First of all, hot show. I think I heard you say, I understand that you may have been triggered by your topic on today. I certainly was triggered. You brought it up with me yesterday. I had not seen or heard the video. I didn't know anything about it. I'm not out there on social media like that. So a lot of things get by me. I was greatly disturbed as a therapist myself, as a Black female therapist. It's not a lot of us as it is. I'm one of those that's trying to recruit more Black women and men actually to go into our field of study and to become credentialed so that we can, turn around and certainly make an impact in our communities. But people like that, I don't remember her name, Bishop, but people like that need to be called out.
Yeah.
And so that we can prevent, that from being spread, in the community. That's like a cancer, unfortunately. And so if we don't wipe that out, or whatever, it will spread within the community. It will cause more harm and danger. I did look up the article, and it was an article. It's several articles, actually. Of course, in Psychology Today, they're always doing research in specific groups. So the article was written to Black boys primarily, and men. And it was really about addressing some emotional intelligence that we all actually can benefit from. It's not a group that has that 100% that's really, really great about their emotional intelligence. As a matter of fact, probably Black women are the group that's at the highest of expressing themselves, because basically what emotional intelligence is just having a really good handle of defining your emotions, also building good, and steady and stable, if you will, interpersonal relationships with others, having a high level of empathy for others. Like if I'm a counselor, in other words, and I am counseling you and you are clinically depressed, I should have a certain level of empathy for you. I may not have depression, I may not have to deal with depression, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't be able to respect, the symptoms that you display or the behaviors that you display. I don't want to be dismissive. I don't want to be disrespectful. Unfortunately, what I think about this young lady, I'm gonna say this and just kind of move on, because like you already stated, we have a busy show today. Unfortunately, and I realize this: therapists need therapy.
Mm.
Therapists need.
Yeah, I think she definitely needs it.
And I don't say that to be crass. I don't say that to be humorous, but therapists need therapy. And what I mean by that is that we need other therapists, or we need therapy, to not only kind of bring our own screening and issues, the way we see the world and the way that we see other people, to the forefront of our minds, so that we can self-assess and examine, maybe how we perceive our clients in other groups and however we're servicing the community. But we also need therapy so that we can have self-care mechanisms in place to keep and safeguard our own mental health, right? To safeguard our own mental health. So self-care is not going to get your nails done babe. It's not going to get your feet done. That's not self-care. Self-care is healthy boundaries, establishing.
That ain't what you be saying when you be asking me to get you a pedicure and stuff.
I don't call that self-care. I call that pampering. I don't call it self-care. It's like, babe, give me money so I can go get my feet done or my nails done. That's no. That's my husband, doing something for me. But that's not self-care. So self-care is healthy boundaries. Self-care is also, safeguarding your own mental health. Self-care is saying no. I've had this discussion on the show before. Self-guard is saying no. Self-care is saying no, and no being a complete sentence. Self-care is you not spreading yourself too thin. Self-care is you eating right, because when we don't eat right, that weighs on our mental health. It doesn't just show up in how our physical body looks, but it also weighs on our mental health when we're not eating right, when we're not eating good, when we're not getting fresh air, when we're not out and about and refreshing ourselves and reviving ourselves, getting away from being inundated, right? At work, for instance, as a therapist, I'm always working with individuals who have certain kinds of issues. So I got to remove myself from that. I literally have to shut down mentally and go home and be with my family and be with you and be with my children and be out in the community or whatever, socializing or whatever the case may be, so that my perception of the world won't be skewed. So unfortunately, I feel like maybe she wasn't practicing self-care, and this is something that you got to practice every day. This is not something you do once a week or once a month or once a year. Self-care is something that you have to practice every day, especially if you are a therapist and a counselor or a social worker, and you're dealing with certain communities and certain groups, that have issues,
Yeah.
and trying to bring more help to the situation than harm.
You can't not take care of yourself and then take care of other people. If you're bleeding, you're gonna bleed on.
You're gonna bleed all over the people. That's
Yeah.
it.
I mean, that's just what it is. So those of you in the Twitter space, we're gonna end the Twitter space on that note, because we're transitioning into another conversation. So if you want to join that conversation, the live video is still playing on Twitter and Facebook and other places. So join us over there. Appreciate each and every one of you all. I see our guest is in the building.
Yay! Yeah.
So you want to do the honors of bringing your guest up?
Yeah, sure. Bring them both up.
I only see one.
Okay, you only see one. Let me make sure that the other one is okay.
In the meantime, and in between time, 413-337-1867. Good.
Okay. Yeah, so I got a text. He's gonna be a little late, and that's fine.
All right.
So bring up our first guest. I'm really excited to have this brother on the show, although you had him here with you last week.
Yeah, I kind of remember this dude being around here last week.
Oh, okay, so it's the other one.
But something happened since last week. Something happened since last week.
You don't remember him being around last week?
I said I remember him being around last week.
Okay.
But something happened since we were on the radio, like the next day.
Right, the next day. So that's why we're bringing him back, because I feel like there's a continuation here. I think that we need to talk to the community about next steps. We are very, very happy to bring back Brother LeVar Click Bruce.
Yay! Thank you.
So congratulations on advancing in the primary for the special. election,
Special election.
Ward 5, and not only advancing, being in the two that advanced, but being at the top of the ticket.
Yeah.
You look like me on the basketball court there. You know.
Yeah. I knew that was coming.
Oh, that's been a long time, babe. That's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. I still feel like I got it.
I don't know.
I still feel like I know
We're gonna see.
Flares, but I think I can still shoot a couple J's though. I think
I feel you.
Yeah. So Elder, may I call you Elder? That's how I know you. So Elder LeVar and I go back about 16 years now. So God's outfit, 16 years ago to put myself and Elder LeVar in the same path, and he became someone that I highly respect and hold in extreme high regard, and I consider a good friend. Him and his wife. The babies are grown now. I can't believe it, but the babies are grown now. But they was my babies. They was my little babies running around. All the babies were at that time in my life. I did want to say this to you, Elder, that I really appreciate the kind of friend that you became in my life. I don't know if you know it, but that was probably one of the darkest seasons of my life. And I just want you to know that I really respect the kind of friend that you are. You're loyal. You don't go around, and you just move in a way to where when you see people go through something and they come out of it, you don't hold them to, what they went through. You don't hold them to what they went through. And you just always show so much love to me and my husband and my family, my children as well. And I just really appreciate you, bro. You're a good brother. Brother. And I just really, really, really appreciate you. Now I got to say this, and I hope it doesn't make you emotional. But you talk about somebody that I loved was your mama.
Yeah.
I was crazy about your mother. Mother Click, she is greatly missed, but I do know this. She is so proud of you. She is so proud of you. She is so proud of you. So, I just wanted to get those things out the way. I know that was personal, everybody, but I felt it on my heart to, say that. I don't know if I ever said that to you before. So if I didn't, I definitely am glad that I had an opportunity to say it to you personally. But listen, bro, congratulations on being at the top of the ticket.
Yes.
But it ain't over, right? It is not over.
No, it's not over.
Yeah. No, this is just the beginning. But listen, I want to ask you this before we get into the more of the politics. What made you decide to make this sacrifice? Because this is a sacrifice for you to give up your full-time job, your livelihood, your family, or whatever. You're going to have to make some major adjustments when you win this race, because I'm believing God that you're going to win this race. But you're going to have to make some major adjustments and some changes in your life when this happens. So what made you decide to do it? Why?
Firstly, thank you for having me on the show. Also to our Bishop Swan. It had me emotional when you were just saying nice things, because we sometimes forget that people deal with issues, and it's word at sometimes is just to bless somebody else. So I just want to share that. It goes a long way, because sometimes it's a lonely road, and I know you can understand. So I again saying the kind words because you didn't have to. So the reason was because I always wanted to do more. I see some things that I personally just didn't like, and in order to make change, so I knew in the back of my mind that I wanted to run, but I didn't know when. How. I didn't know anything, but I put it into the atmosphere. Anybody knows about prayer? You put it in the atmosphere, and God is going to provide and make a way. So I put it in the atmosphere. I kind of missed it, and I left it. I didn't think about it anymore. I knew at some point it was going to come. For his service, he abruptly resigned. I saw opportunity. I went and had. I had the conversation with the mayor and said, "This is what I wanted to do," and he full hesitation. So it was my decision, and I had a conversation with my family. Obviously, my wife, who actually runs our family. She runs our family. So approval first. Let's not get it twisted. And she was on board. When she was on board,
That's wonderful. I mean, I know you, and I didn't expect any other answer. I mean, I just didn't expect any other answer. I know you to always put the people first. This is not political for you. This is personal. And I know that to be the case. So again, I'm glad for the community that you decided to do this, and that that the chief in charge, right, had your back 100%. Like, babe, go ahead and do it. I got you. So that's wonderful. So let's talk about next steps, what we need to do, because I know that Chris is going to be coming on too. So I definitely want to make sure that we get out there in the community and let everybody know that great start. Really appreciate everything that's been done so far. Hi, Chris. How you doing? Everything that's been done so far. Thank you, for voting enough for LeVar to get him at the top of the ticket. But now you have someone that you're running against. I believe it's Collins. Is it
Yes.
Chris Collins? Okay,
Ed
Chris
Collins.
Collins. Okay,
Ed
Ed
Collins,
Collins.
yeah.
Okay. Ed Collins that you're running against. So we need for people to get ready to vote for when.
Collins is running against him.
Well, yeah, he's running against him. Absolutely. Thank you, Bishop, for that correction.
Yeah, so we got to get quite frankly, I'm thankful for those that voted for me on August 16th. Well, folks, this is voter education. A lot of folks thought the election was over, and they thought we won. We have to come back out and do this all again on September 13th. And it's sandwiched local elections that's going on, and also state elections. So we can't get tired. We can't get weary and well doing. We have to continue to push and fight the good fight. That we come together as a community September 13th and vote LeVar Click. Bruce is very important that we get out and rock the vote, quite frankly. So we have to do this. And the residents of Ward 5, and I'll definitely represent them, but I'm all Springfield. So we want to make sure we get out and vote. September 13th is the date, First Lady.
Right. So thank you for that. So let me reiterate what he just said. For Ward 5 in particular. So we're gonna have the state elections and some local stuff, happening on September 6th. So it's 2 Tuesdays that Ward 5 in particular need to prepare themselves for it. Get ready to vote on September 6th in the state elections, and we're going to talk to Chris in a minute. We're going to talk more about that. But September 13th for LeVar, for Ward 5. So all of those Ward 5 residents that came out on August 13th, come back on September 6th and September 13th. But also remember to bring your cousins and them to all of that. Everybody bring, your cousins and them to all of that. It's really important. I don't know. I would say this. I got really more out there and vocal certainly in 2020, right? I was always behind the scenes, certainly doing what your wife do so well, pushing my husband and sometimes, instigating him. Y'all didn't see me. I'm back there, talking and he's saying stuff. And I'm instigating, whatever the case it is.
Yeah.
But now I'm out there, kind of building my own voice and so on and so forth. And and I really saw some things, how we vote in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and then of course how we vote, in the city of Springfield, which is the greatest city that I know. It's the greatest city that I know. And so with that being said, I don't think I have been able to participate in a more important election when I think about what's happening this year. And so I'm gonna go ahead and bring Chris into the conversation. LeVar, you know, um, LeVar, you can stay as long as you want, or whatever the case may be. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring Chris into the conversation. Everybody, Chris Dempsey is here. Dempsey is here. And I really appreciate you, Chris, for joining us in on the conversation. I have a couple of questions for you, but let me just go ahead and kind of finish what I was saying about this election. This election, though, has been a real education for me. I was telling Tanisha Sullivan, we brought her on to the show a couple of, no, it was last Tuesday. It was last Tuesday. Monday. We brought her onto the show. And I was telling her that I had no idea of the responsibility and the authority that the Secretary of State office held, and I had no idea the impact that one office could make in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And I want to say this to you, Chris. I feel the same about the state auditors. So it's been a real education this year for me. Even with the AG, I met Andrea Campbell, the other day. You all of the campaign of Tanisha, the campaign of Andrea, the campaign of Chris, these individuals in particular for me, your campaigns have been extremely not just informational, but really educational. And I'm telling you, I can really appreciate that. The same thing with you, LeVar. I mean, even as a city councilor, a lot of people know the name, know the title, but now people who are running for office really want to educate voters. Really want to educate voters. And I think that is important, especially with the climate that we're in. So, okay, so that's my little spiel. That's my little speech, in introducing Chris to the table. So, Chris, I want to ask you, can you tell us, well, first introduce yourself, but then tell us what a state auditor is.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me on, Lady Swan and Bishop Swan. It's really a pleasure to be with you. I'm also a big fan of LeVar, and I want to congratulate him on topping the ticket in the election. And I completely agree that folks need to get out on September 6th, hopefully to vote for me and other great candidates, and then again on September 13th. There's a lot of voting, but it's no more important time than now to use that right. So Thank you for what you're doing to educate the community, inform the community, and make sure everyone has a feel for what their choices are. So I'm Chris Dempsey. I'm running to be the Commonwealth's next state auditor. I'm the son of public school teachers. My parents met while teaching at the Martin Luther King School in Dorchester in Boston in 1970. And they were placed in adjoining classrooms, and they met and they fell in love. And I saw them through the course of their career digging into their own pockets to pay for school supplies for their students. As we know, public school teachers across the Commonwealth still do to this day. And when that happens, it's not because the teachers did anything wrong or the school districts did anything wrong. It's because the dollars aren't flowing properly from Beacon Hill back to the places where they can do the greatest good. Public education, public transportation, public health, housing. And so the state auditor's job is to investigate and review every single state agency, any part of state government, to make sure that we are spending those dollars well and that they're flowing back to communities, the places where they can do the greatest need. I'm really excited to be running for this role. And again, so grateful to be on with you all today to talk about the race.
Love it. Love it. So, Chris, tell us a little bit more about how this position is connected to social justice.
Yeah, there's really a lot here. I'm immensely proud that we put out the very first policy plan of any kind in this race before any other candidates put out any. We put out our first 3. And I won't go into all the details on them, but I'll just give you a little sample so that you can kind of see how this role has such a wide impact. Our first was on oversight of the $5.3 billion in federal stimulus funding. And we're going to try to track those dollars in real time so that we avoid a situation where we spend all $5.3 billion and then we go in and audit and we realize we didn't spend the money that well. We're also going to adopt the recommendations of the Racial Equity Scorecard that was put together by the NAACP, the Black Economic Council of Massachusetts, the Mass Public Health Association, and many other organizations across the state to develop some metrics around equity to make sure that when we're working with contractors, it's a diverse set of contractors. When we're investing dollars in community, they're going fairly across all communities and not just the favored communities. So I'm excited about that work. The second plan we put out was on carbon accounting and environmental justice. And we're going to make sure that we create an auditor's commission on environmental justice so that everyone who is on the front lines of that issue, who's breathing in air from highways or from power plants, or who's living in an area that's prone to flooding or severe weather, that they have a seat at the table on Beacon Hill. And certainly we want folks from Springfield and Greater Springfield to be at that table for those conversations. And then our third paper was on reform and oversight of the Massachusetts State Police. And I respect our troopers who are on the front lines, but we know that that agency as a whole has lost and broken faith with the public. And we put out a 15-point plan that covers everything from hiring to promotions to training to looking at racial profiling and stops and ticketing, looking at evidence handling, the list goes on and on. We're going to dig in on that agency, and I think we can work on it and actually restore that respect between the state police and communities and taxpayers, and I'm very serious about that work. So that gives you kind of a sense, Lady Swan, for the vast nature of this job. It can really touch a lot of different things, from federal stimulus dollars to climate change to the state police. It's a big opportunity for us to make state government work better, and that's why I'm so excited about it.
Okay, so a question for both of you. Certainly, this would be for Ward 5 candidate LeVar Click, but also you on the state level. And maybe you just kind of answered this, Chris, but I'm not sure. So I want to formulate it like this. So what are the top 3 priorities that you two have? I don't know what just happened to LeVar. Maybe he'll come back. So what's the top 3 priorities that you have as the state auditor, throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts? What's the top 3 things?
Yeah, well, you just heard our first 3 policy papers, and I'm really proud, again, of the kind of breadth of those. I'll talk about another issue that's really important to me, which is public transportation. So we know that the MBTA right now is in really bad shape. The Orange Line has been shut down, and Western Massachusetts taxpayers, folks like many of your listeners in Greater Springfield, you're contributing financially to the MBTA, but you don't have the ability to access that every day and to benefit from its services. And I think, frankly, that's unfair. But we want to make sure that every single penny that you spend in taxes that goes to the MBTA is spent well. And if it's not being spent well, we're going to call that out. But public transportation is also deeply personal to me. I've ridden the PVTA over the course of this campaign. I'm proud to have said that and to have ridden multiple transit agencies across the state, not just the MBTA. And I will actually be the first statewide elected official to commute to Beacon Hill on transit in over 30 years. The last one was Governor Mike Dukakis, who left office in 1991.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so that's not a gimmick for me. That's really who I am, is a public transit rider. And I know that in the Pioneer Valley, we've got a great transit system, the PVTA, but it needs more investment. It needs more resources. We need to do things like East-West Rail, which will better connect the Pioneer Valley to Boston. So there's so much we can do on public transportation. And when we do that, we make it easier to access housing. We make it easier to access jobs. We make it easier to address our environmental justice and our climate goals. Public transportation is really essential to building strong communities. And I want to be part of that team on Beacon Hill that works to invest and improve public transportation statewide.
Well, I'm kind of, let's stay there for a second. You know, as you know, well, I digressed. I was about to bring up something for housing, but no, let's stay on transportation just for 1 second. So one of the things that I see in this part of the state, right, is a real antiquated system of transportation. I mean, it's behind more than the 8 ball. It's like behind the 20th ball. You know, it's like it's so old. I mean, all we really see here is buses. As far as like transportation is concerned. So what about
the East-West Rail? They're working on it.
What about this part of the state? I don't know that, and I don't know who else knows that, babe. So what about this part of the state when it comes to public transportation? Like, what's going to be? How are we going to see that reflected here?
Yeah. So I think Bishop Swan just mentioned East-West Rail, which is an opportunity to build rail service between Boston and Springfield to make it much easier to get into Boston, and for people that are in Boston to get to Springfield, and even maybe to live in Springfield and commute by train, which is not really an option today. So that's the kind of investment that we're looking at and talking about. But I also think there's opportunities to make improvements in the system that we have, and I've been a part of that work before. So I served as Assistant Secretary of Transportation for Governor Deval Patrick after helping to elect him to office in 2006. And I was very proud to be a part of that campaign. And while I was working for the governor, I was a bus rider myself, and I saw that the MBTA and other transit agencies had information about the real-time location of their buses, but they weren't sharing that with anybody, so that it wasn't accessible to riders at all. And I created the MassDOT Open Data Program that led to the creation of all the smartphone apps that tell you in real time when your bus or your train will come. And we made Massachusetts the very first state on the entire East Coast to make those apps available to riders. And you know, I know not all of your listeners and viewers are bus riders, but for those that are, they know that those apps have really transformed what it means to take a bus. Because in the old days, you didn't know if your bus was 4 minutes away or 44 minutes away.
Right.
You just standing on the corner, just sort of in the rain, in the snow, in the cold, just waiting for that bus. But now you have the power of that information in the palm of your hand, and you can stay inside and stay warm and only walk out to the bus stop as your bus is arriving. So we've proven that we can make transportation work better in Massachusetts with the right leadership. And again, that's the kind of perspective and track record I want to bring to this office.
Chris, does that work like the kind of like the Uber app? You can like see your car coming and kind of time it. I didn't know we had that for public transportation.
Yeah, so I used it the other day in Springfield. So I stayed overnight with Council President Jesse Letterman and his wonderful wife Amila. They're strong supporters of my candidacy. They have a beautiful home in the McKnight neighborhood, and I needed to get downtown that morning. So I walked a few blocks over, but I tracked the bus on my app, and I got to the bus stop about 90 seconds before that bus came. So I could jump right on the bus and go downtown and not have to stand on the corner wondering where it is.
Oh, wow. That's big.
Yeah, that's
we
good.
need that for school buses for my son.
Yeah, well, I was about to say that. I was also about to say that, you know, in this part of the state, and, you know, and again, I'm not trying to demean the city or anything, but I'm from Dallas, Texas, you know, so like the railways, you know, and the subways, whatever system was put up some time ago. It was after I left. I've been here 34 years. So it was after I left, but nevertheless, I feel like something like that should be in place here, not necessarily just for Springfield, but to go back and forth to Northampton, Amherst, you know, or whatever, Pittsfield, you know, it just ought to be a quicker, easier, more accessible, you know, ways to get to Westfield State, you know, especially, you know, or the town of Westfield. So we got all of these kind of, smaller towns, even in Connecticut. It should be like real, easier access to go back and forth to parts of Connecticut as well.
Yep.
Because transportation is a huge issue. Like you said, here, especially in this part of the state. Of course, the more newer, modernized transportation system does exist in Boston, or whatever. But the rest of the state, we're just kind of left, to using vehicles and car services for the most part, sometimes.
That's right. We've got a lot more work to do, and I want to be a partner to everyone in Western Massachusetts that's fighting for more regional equity and making sure that dollars are flowing back from Beacon Hill. That's why I'm so proud to be endorsed by people like State Rep Bud Williams, school committee member Latonia Naylor, who's been a dear friend of mine and a leader on my campaign. She's a close advisor of mine, and honored to have her help and her support.
Right.
Folks like that who are deeply rooted in the community, who know the issues, and are going to make sure that as a statewide elected official, I'm informed about what's happening at the ground level.
Okay, so let's keep it real. We only got a couple of more minutes, but I want to ask you a question about the Black community in this part of the state. Oftentimes we've been ignored, and I've heard, there's rumors that say that the reason why this part of the state gets ignored is because we don't come out and vote like we should. I've seen you quite a bit, and the other candidates like Tanisha and like Andrea, they've been in this part of the state quite a bit, making connections. But for the most part, all of you had relationships with some of us here before you decided to run, or whatever. So tell me a little bit more detail about why you're here and visiting, and why it's important for us, for you to continue to build your relationship with us in this part of the state and in this community of Springfield in particular.
Yeah. Well, we're working hard for every single vote across the state, and I really am proud of the support that we have in Springfield, but we're working hard to make sure that it's not just about endorsements, that I'm also meeting with folks in the community. So, Lady Swan, that I was just out for 2 days last week on Wednesday and Thursday. Again, actually stayed overnight with City Council President Jesse Letterman. On the last trip out there, we also had a chance to visit the Holy Trinity Church of God and the Holy Redeemer Cathedral. Certainly, the Naylor family has been wonderful to me and welcoming to me. So grateful for that. We want to show up day after day after day, so folks know that we're working hard to earn their votes. The last time that this race was contested in the Democratic primary was 12 years ago, when Auditor Suzanne Bump ran for the first time. And I should say I'm very proud that she's supporting my campaign. She's the first woman to ever hold the office. She's the person who knows the job the best, and she's endorsed me in this race. But 12 years ago, when this was last contested, 1 out of 5 voters left it blank on their ballot. So they took the time to go and show up and vote for the other races, and they got to auditor and they said, I don't know enough about what this office does. I don't know who these people are on my ballot, and I'm just going to leave it blank. And every time that happens, that's a failure of democracy, right? Because we've all worked hard to earn that right to vote, and we want to use that power to its fullest potential. And that's why I'm on today, so that everyone who's a listener and a viewer of your program today, when they have that ballot in front of them on September 6th, they get to auditor on the ballot and they say, you know what? I heard from Chris. I know he's working hard for my vote. I know that he's going to work with people in the community, and he's going to elevate their voices and hear from them. And I'm comfortable and confident that when I fill in his name, fill in the oval next to his name on the ballot, that I'm going to be well represented by him. That's why I'm here today. And I want to come back as often as I can between now and September 6th.
Chris, listen, I love what you just said, because that was me. I was one of those voters. And, a lot of times you hear people say, Black people don't vote. or that community doesn't vote, or that ward doesn't vote. They don't come out. They have 18,000 registered voters, but only 600 people voted, or whatever the case may be. We have over 100,000, I think more like close to 110,000 registered voters here in the city of Springfield. I don't need to give you the stats, but I will. On average, about 5 to 7% of people come out and make the decisions about, who's gonna get what, who's gonna win whatever election. In 2020, about 27% of us came out and we voted. Of course, the reasons for that. On a high note, we've been around 15%. That was a high. With 15% of us coming out. And this is not just Black voters. This is across the board. White voters don't come out in Springfield either. Latino voters don't really come out in Springfield either. I believe that we don't have a registration problem here. I do believe that we have an education problem here with voting, and we have an information problem here with voting. But I also believe that we deal with voter suppression in a way that's very subtle and very sophisticated, although we have antiquated systems. Okay, so I got that out the way. But what I wanted to say was, I was one of those voters that would leave certain questions and right, empty because I didn't know. I just learned of the governor's counselor's position, for instance, about maybe 8 years ago. I can't remember exactly how long it's been, but it hasn't been that long. I've been voting since I was 19 years old. I really started voting really hard and consistently when I moved here when I was 21. So, but anyway, long story short, I was that person. And so I asked myself the question later on, years later, like, why did I not vote there? I didn't have enough information. I didn't feel empowered enough to vote there. That's why, I didn't vote. So again, that's why I really appreciate this kind of new wave of candidate that is genuinely running for the people, because they're spending the time to educate us. They're not just trying to say, come out and vote for me. First of all, what you're saying is, whatever you do, please go and vote. If you have any questions about what it is that I'm running for, or whatever, I have my website. I'm accessible. I'm here to answer any questions. So I've said that. Now I want to say this. You tell me if I'm wrong, but based on the education that I've been exposed to through your candidacy, what I've learned about the state auditor, first of all, I can vote with confidence now, which I'm voting for you. And I'm encouraging everybody that I know to vote for you for state auditor. And this is the reasons why. You educated me and you let me know that what the state auditor is responsible for is basically overseeing and auditing every state agency. And if they're doing good, then you'll say, good job, keep going. And these are the areas where you probably can improve. If they're doing bad, if they got some issues, if there's corruption and you snuff it out, you're going to address it, you're going to expose it, and you're going to say, bad job, shame on you. We got to make some changes because the people are not being served. That is my impression. That's my definition of state auditor now. And I only know that through you and your campaign. So am I right with my definition and assessment?
You got it exactly right. You nailed it.
So
I'm just worried you're going to run against me now in 4 years.
I don't have the skill set. But, so again, now, right? Looking at me that yep. I didn't vote for auditor before because I didn't know. Now you can credit yourself for saying, I took my time. I tried to educate the community. I'm trying to connect, with the individuals, with the voters. I'm trying to inform them about what it is I would be overseeing and what I would be responsible for. So now I'm not just a voter, but I'm an empowered voter.
That's right.
That makes a difference when people can feel confident about what they're doing, when they know what they're doing. And listen, voters, listen, I want everybody to understand that voting is not just going out on election day or whenever you decide to go and cast your vote on the ballot. Voting is ongoing. So when we vote for Chris and when Chris wins, then we need to support him. We need to support him, hold him accountable, continue to follow him, or whatever the case may be. Also give him input, give him feedback, and the whole nine. The whole nine. So voting is ongoing. We should be connected to our votes, and we should understand that voting, oh my God, that voting is connected to our quality of life. How we vote, who we put in these positions is not just, for popularity and for fame, and for notoriety. It is literally, we're voting our values. The people that we put in these positions, we're voting our values. And it gets back to the kind of water quality that we have, the kind of soil quality that we have, the kind of environmental quality, that we have, our schools, right? Like you said, the state police, the oversight of every single system, healthcare system, educational system, you name it. Right? It gets back to all of that. And so I want to put somebody in office that cares about, corruption and what corruption can, do to the individual or the community. So thank you for that, Chris.
Well, it's been an honor to get to know you better and to have this conversation today. I'm so proud to have your support and have your vote on September 6th. And I would again just encourage all of your listeners and viewers to exercise that right and that power. And I ask for your vote. It's going to be a very close race, and we need every single vote out there, but so proud of what we've built with this grassroots campaign, and lots more to come in the next 2 weeks.
So after September 6th, we're going to say, we're believing that you're going to win the primary on September 6th. Tell us what the next steps will be after September 6th.
So we're hoping to get through there, and that's very much our focus right now is September 6th. But then after that, there is a candidate on the Republican side. So then I'll be in the general election, and we'll have that election in November. And again, we're just going to work very hard for every single vote across the entire Commonwealth. I've been on this campaign literally from Pittsfield in the Berkshires to Provincetown on Cape Cod. We've visited hundreds of communities and met tens of thousands of people over the course of this campaign. I have to tell you, it's been a real privilege to be a part of it, to be on the campaign trail for over a year now, and to now be focused on these last 2 weeks. I've met amazing people. I saw actually school committee member Latonia Naylor is in the chat today and following along, someone that I didn't know before this campaign started, and now have come to appreciate that she is just such a rising star, not just in Springfield, but really across the state. And she's someone that we want to give a statewide platform to in the future. Meeting people like that has been a true joy. Being on this program, meeting the two of you, getting to engage with the two of you, it's been a joy and an honor. And so we're just going to keep it going and fight for every single vote all the way through.
Best to you, Chris. Looking forward to good news come September 6th. Important what y'all to get out there and vote. Collect your cousins, your aunties, your uncles, all of them. And by the way, anybody who's looking
for Bishop, roll call.
Anybody who needs transportation, we're working with Lyft this year, and we're going to be providing Lyft vouchers so you can get to and from the polls without a problem. So y'all won't have any excuses not to go out and vote.
When is it just going to be on election Tuesday or?
So there's also early voting this year. Early voting starts this Saturday, August 27th. and it runs through next Friday. And then there's a few days off. And then September 6th is an interesting one this year. It's the day after Labor Day. So this is going to kind of sneak up on people a little bit. So we encourage you to either vote by mail or vote early voting starting on August 27th. And if you miss those two opportunities, then make sure that you mark your calendar for the day after Labor Day. Circle it in red, block off the day, whatever you need to do to make sure that you get to the polls on September 6th.
Yes, right. So are we having rides during the week of early voting too?
No, that's for the that's going to be for the general.
Okay, so it's just on the 6th.
Yeah.
Just on September 6th.
For the actual election, yeah, 6th, and then the November.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We have souls to the polls during the early voting season. I believe that's August 28th. We have souls to the polls. So we'll be doing souls to the polls. So everybody, after you get out of church on August 28th, when you get out of church, go down to City Hall and cast your vote for early voting. And cast your vote on August 28th. So we have that. The deadline for registration for those of you, it's just a few of you who have not registered to vote in this year's election. You have up until Friday of this week. So that's August the 26th. You have up until Friday of this week to vote, to be able to vote I believe in the regular election. I don't know if you'll be able to vote in the primary. I don't know.
I think that is for the primary. I think it is.
Okay, that's for the primary too.
Yep.
Okay. So by
I would
August
say don't wait. Go. If you think you're not registered to vote, just go today. Go to City Hall today, or go online and print out the form today, because we don't want anyone to not exercise that right.
Absolutely. Sister Latonya, put in there is a link, a website that you can go and check and see if you are registered and ready to go. If you have a question about your registration, and also if you're not sure, because we have this too. If you're not sure where you vote and what your ward is and what your district is, information like that is also on that website as well. So let's see. I will probably put that on your social media page later on today when I find it. Sister Latonya has it. When I find it, I'll put it up on your social media page. So any parting words, Brother Chris? And thank you so much for coming to the show.
Absolutely. I just want to again offer my thanks and my gratitude for the chance to join you all today and to be with your listeners and your viewers to share more about my candidacy. And I'll just once again ask for people's vote on September 6th in the Democratic primary. I'm Chris Dempsey. I'm running to be your next state auditor, and I very much look forward to your partnership and hope to have your support. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Ian, Chris. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks very much. We'll talk again soon.
Okay. All right, babe. Busy show today. I think we lost Brother LeVar. Was he having some technical problems? But we got the info out there. Ward 5, be prepared to vote in the September 6th and September 13th. September 6th and September 13th. Again, if you're not registered to vote, please make sure you get registered by this Friday, August 26th. I believe City Hall is open from 9 to 4 every day. Go down to City Hall and get registered real quick. And you'll be able to vote in both the September 6th primary election as well as the November 3rd, 4th? I can't remember the date. In the November election. Listen, y'all, this election cycle is critical to our well-being. Again, this is way more important. What's happening in this election is historic and is epic, and we can really make some huge changes in our state, in our city, if we vote right. If we come together collectively and we vote right. This can't be about Latinos against blacks and blacks against whites and whites against. This has to be done in a spirit of unity. Collectively, we need to vote for the right people. We just can't vote for people, because we're racist and and this that, and other. People are literally dying. Our quality of life is decreasing because of the way that we do politics here in this country and in this city. So we need to vote right. So everybody, please get your vote plans together. Vote for good people. Vote for people who have people in mind when they're making their decisions and when they're doing their job.
Absolutely. Vote, vote, vote. Not especially in these local, state, regional elections. I know we've put a lot of focus on the national stuff, but these really affect your day-to-day quality of life issues. So, we're not thinking about the presidency and all that stuff right now. We're talking about these local elections, your
Right.
state elections.
Yeah. What they call them constitutional positions, right?
Yeah, yeah. You need to be concerned with them. All right. I gotta go, y'all. Got more stuff to do. They used to be traditional that Mondays would be a preacher's day off. I think Mondays are probably one of my busiest days all of the time. But in any case, enjoy being with you all on today.
September 10th. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but you forgot to announce it.
What's
Hope
that?
Fest September 10th. Hope
Yeah,
Fest September
yeah.
10th.
Hope Fest September.
We're looking for vendors. Anybody that wants to vend, you can be a community-based organization. Sister Latonya, I was gonna send you a text today. I forgot to ask Parent Villages to be there. We need Hope Fest participants. Hope Fest participants. We had a great time the last few years. We've had Hope Fest. We had one last year in spite of COVID. This year, we're looking forward to having it bigger and greater than ever before. So we're not only having vendors, we're going to have entertainment, we're going to have spoken word, we're going to have political representatives and servants to come out and address the community. We're also doing a gardening workshop and exercise. It's going to be lots of games and activities for the children. It's going to be like just a resource day, not just retail vendors, but again, community based organizations will be present. So, anybody that wants to participate in Hope Fest, please contact me through Facebook, will probably be the easiest way to do it. Cynthia Davis Swan is my name on Facebook. Please contact me with your interests.
So that's on the 10th, and it's going to be a wonderful time, and looking forward to another Hope Fest. Also, that same week we're in our Holy Convocation, September 6th through the 9th. So check us out for that, and right there at Spring of Hope. So a lot of stuff going on, y'all. Connect with us.
I know it's past 11, Bishop, but can I just say one more thing? Because people have been asking while you had that up. So people have been asking about the gardening initiative that's been started and also my health journey. So I'm willing to give you my testimony real quick. So June 1st is when I got really serious because I was diagnosed with two health issues. I was diagnosed with fibroids and I was also diagnosed a little over so type 2 diabetes basically, and my doctor told me that it was strictly because of my weight, and that if I lost weight, more than likely I could reverse the symptoms of the start of type 2 diabetes. Anyway, so June 1st, after crying and having a pity party and having all kinds of fits, and finding out that there was two things going on with my health, I got really serious about not only my gardening, but my gardening as therapy and my gardening as a supplement in my diet and improving my eating habits. So anyway, long story short, I have increased my activity, and I also have drastically. My husband can attest to this. Everybody in my family can attest to this because I cook different now. I have drastically changed my eating habits. I'm a part of a support group as well, where we share recipes and we encourage each other, to basically put ourselves first and to choose our lives and our health and our well-being, and making it a priority. With that being said, I've now lost since June 1st. I've now lost over 20 pounds, and I already feel a whole lot better in my knees, in my joints. I don't have the kind of inflammation that I was once having. And the doctor is saying that as far as my fibroids are concerned, because things are, changing in my lifestyle and the way that I take care of myself, I may not even need surgery. That some medication and some other things will probably be the healing that I need. So I just wanted to share that. I wanted to encourage all of us, that you are worth taking better care of yourselves. You are worth prolonging and preserving your life. So again, I wanted to share that. And the garden project is going forward and it's growing and it's great. And it's great.
All right. There's your updates. We're going to roll out of here, y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Lord, like the old folks used to say, if it be the Lord's will, if I'm still living and the creek don't rise and all that kind of stuff.
The creek don't rise.
Well, people used to drown in the creek if the creek got too high. That's an old country stuff. You don't see.
I'm from the country. You not.
Well, my people was from Mississippi, so
your peoples.
My peoples is from Mississippi, so I got a few little country ways about me. But anyway. Let me get this music popping. I told my son he's gonna have to come up and give us some more theme music and stuff.
Yeah.
Until next time, God loves you. So do we. See y'all next week. Peace.